There's a reason babies can learn to speak any language in the world. It's not because they're smarter than adults. It's because they use their mouths fearlessly. They move their tongues, lips, and jaws without hesitation. They experiment with sound. They play with language. As adults, we forget that speaking is not just a mental skill, it's a physical one. Your mouth is a set of muscles. And just like your legs or arms, those muscles must be trained if you want them to move easily and naturally. When you see fluent English speakers, they're not just thinking fast, their mouths are well-trained instruments that can create English sounds instantly, smoothly, and without fear. Imagine watching an athlete. Before every game, they stretch, they move, they warm up. Their bodies are ready to respond without hesitation. Speaking English is the same. You have to warm up your mouth. You have to train it to move in the rhythm of English. Many learners focus on grammar and vocabulary, but what if your problem is not what you know, but what your mouth can do? Have you ever known the right words in your head, but when you tried to say them, your tongue just froze? That's not a memory issue, that's a muscle issue. Your mouth hasn't yet learned the music of English. Think about how English feels physically. The TH sound, for example, doesn't exist in many languages. When you first try to make it, your tongue feels awkward, almost rebellious. But over time, if you keep practicing, it begins to obey. It starts to move with confidence. Your lips, your jaw, and your tongue begin to dance with English sounds. One of the secrets to fluency is repetition, not mental repetition, but mouth repetition. You need to say the same phrases again and again until your mouth remembers them. The way a singer repeats lines until they become second nature. The way an actor rehearses scenes until they no longer think about the script. When you say English sentences aloud, even simple ones, your mouth builds memory. For example, saying "How are you doing today?" 20 times isn't boring if you focus on how your mouth moves. Feel the flow. Feel the connection between sounds. Notice how "are you" blends into RYA. That's how native speakers talk, with movement, rhythm, and speed that come from thousands of repetitions. If you only listen to English but never speak it, your mouth stays lazy. You understand, but you can't perform. It's like watching people dance on YouTube but never standing up yourself. You might know every step in your head, but your body doesn't respond. Fluency doesn't live in your brain, it lives in your mouth, so start small. Talk to yourself. Describe what you see, what you feel, what you plan to do. Say it out loud, even if no one is around. I'm opening the window. I'm making tea. I'm learning English. These sentences sound simple, but every time you say them, your mouth gets stronger. It's like lifting small weights every day. Before long, those tiny exercises turn into real strength. The goal is not to sound perfect, it's to sound alive. Don't fear mistakes. A musician doesn't fear a wrong note during practice. They focus on flow. You should do the same. Keep moving your mouth, keep producing sound, and fluency will follow naturally. Your voice is your tool. Your mouth is your engine. If you train them both with care and consistency, English won't feel like a foreign sound anymore. It will feel like your own. And that's just the beginning. In the next part, we'll explore how to connect your thoughts and mouth, so words don't just come out clearly, but confidently, like music you've practiced for years. When you listen to fluent English speakers, it often feels like their words flow effortlessly, like a river that never stops. But what's really happening inside them is harmony, a perfect connection between mind and mouth. Their thoughts don't wait in line to be translated, they simply move. Words are born the moment the thought appears. For many learners, that connection is broken. You think in your native language, then try to translate each word, and by the time it reaches your lips, the moment is gone. The listener has moved on, and you're left frustrated, whispering the right answer too late. But that's not because you're slow, it's because your mouth and mind haven't yet learned to trust each other. The good news: that trust can be built. Just as a dancer learns to move without thinking about every step, you can train your mouth to respond instantly to your thoughts. It begins with one simple habit: speaking before you're ready. When you wait for the perfect word, you train hesitation. When you speak with what you have, you train confidence. Every time you open your mouth, even with imperfect English, your brain and tongue start building a bridge. Each sentence becomes a plank in that bridge, connecting your ideas to sound. With time, that bridge becomes so strong that words begin to flow automatically. Try to notice the way you speak your native language. You don't think about grammar or structure, you just talk. You express emotion, humor, ideas, all at once. That's what you're training your mouth to do in English. You're teaching it to respond without permission, to speak freely, naturally, fearlessly. The most powerful speakers aren't those who know the most words, they're the ones who are most comfortable using what they know. Comfort comes from sound, not silence. If you're shy about your accent, remember this: every native speaker once sounded strange when they were learning to talk too. Every voice begins awkwardly. What makes it beautiful is not perfection, but practice. There's a story of a Japanese businessman who learned English late in life. He was terrified of speaking because people often misunderstood his accent. But one day, he decided to practice out loud every morning for 30 minutes, not reading silently, but speaking with energy and emotion. After a few months, something amazing happened. His co-workers noticed he sounded clearer, more confident. His accent was still there, but his voice had changed. It carried certainty. And that made all the difference. That's what happens when your mouth becomes familiar with English. It stops fighting the sounds. It starts to own them. The muscles remember, the rhythm flows, and you begin to express ideas instead of worrying about mistakes. To reach that point, you have to fall in love with the music of English. Listen to conversations, songs, podcasts, and try to imitate not just the words but the melody. English rises and falls like a wave. Listen to how Americans stretch certain vowels, how they soften endings, how they connect words together. The more your mouth mimics that rhythm, the more natural you'll sound. If you can, find a mirror. Watch your mouth as you speak. Notice how it moves when you say world, thought, or through. These words look simple, but they test your muscles. Repeat them until they no longer feel foreign. Each repetition is progress, even if no one hears it but you. Fluency isn't a miracle, it's a daily workout. You don't train for one day and expect perfection. You train until your mouth forgets its training. You speak until sound becomes instinct. And one day, you'll open your mouth and realize you didn't think before you spoke, you just spoke. That's the moment your mouth becomes your friend. The moment English stops being a subject and becomes a part of who you are. So don't just study English, live it. Talk to the world, talk to yourself, talk to your dreams. The more you move your mouth, the more fluent your life becomes. And remember, fluency doesn't begin when you stop making mistakes, it begins when you stop being afraid of them. I share stories like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.